Arriba. Espera, un chance.
Go ahead.
Hello everyone, thanks for being here. My name is Emilio Margolis, and today I'm going to talk to you about an artist called Rembrandt that I found very interesting, and he had a very exciting life that I'd like to share with you. Now Rembrandt, although most people will know him, he was a Dutch painter and artist. Now I chose to do a speech on Rembrandt because a few months ago I was reading about his life and found it very interesting, not to mention his beautiful artworks that still fascinate me today. Now Rembrandt was born to a poor family in the Dutch town of Leiden in 1606. Now before we get into the life of Rembrandt and the circumstances around his fame, let me take the time to tell you about the history of Holland at the time. Now, during his birth and Rembrandt's life, Holland entered what was called the Dutch Golden Age. This happened with the Dutch Revolution from Spain in the 1590s. At that time, Spain was the #1 country in the world and logically began to conquer neighboring countries in Europe, including most of Italy and Holland. Now, when Holland separated from Spain, it began establishing colonies all over the world, especially in the Americas and as far as Japan. Now, most people may not know this, but it was actually the Dutch who founded New York until the English took it from them in the 1700s. So, during this time, merchants began to move to the cities of Holland, especially Amsterdam and the coast. They went there with their riches and started spending their money on art and the various cultures that was there. Now, this is just like what happened in Italy during the Renaissance. Rembrandt's early years, he spent studying Latin, and when he grew older, he went to the university of his hometown. At the age of 19, he graduated, and he quickly found an interest in art. Shortly after, he opened an art studio where he started painting. His first major painting was called The Stoning of St. Stephen, which is his first and most famous painting that he completed in 1627 at the age of 19. Now, a few years after he started his art studio, he began to teach other students. This is important because since he was such a good artist, he was able to teach very famous students, including someone named Gerrit Dou, who was also a Dutch painter and very famous during his time. Now, in 1629, Rembrandt was contracted by the politician Constantijn Huygens. Now, he worked for the Dutch royal court, and with this connection, Rembrandt was given access to the prince, which he commissioned various paintings from him. This led to the young artist establishing his fame, and in the 1630s, he moved to the capital of Amsterdam for more opportunities. There is where he met his wife a few years later. Now, they were happily married in 1634, and it is true that he shows his love for her in various paintings that they did together. Now, sadly, they had 4 children, but unfortunately, only one of them survived to adulthood. More unfortunate events struck when, only after 8 short years of marriage, his wife died. This, some believe, led Rembrandt to take more dark themes in his paintings. Now, throughout his life, he had various financial troubles. He liked to spend too much money. It's even rumored that he spent an enormous amount of money buying a set of samurai armor that was brought from Japan. Now, during his life, he was forced to sell most of his possessions in various times to avoid bankruptcy. But, being a famous artist that he was, the Dutch creditors were willing to give him a break because of his fame. Now, has anyone actually heard of Rembrandt?
Yes.
Of course, he is very famous. Most famous for his oil paintings, which is what he most liked to use. He mostly did portraits of famous people, and he's one of the few artists that did portraits of himself. But what most people don't know is that Rembrandt did something called etching, and in the world of art, he's known as one of the best etchers ever. Now, what is the legacy of Rembrandt? Why is he so famous? He's so famous, in fact, that he is actually considered one of the greatest artists of all time. If you think about it, he's considered with Leonardo, Raphael, and Michelangelo as one of the artists that's only known by his first name. This only happens with very famous artists in the history of the world. Now, he's very famous because no one seems to capture expressions and faces like he does. If you've seen his paintings, you can see just how lifelike the features are. Sadly, though, like many artists, he was not a man of his time. When he died, he was buried in an unmarked grave in Holland, and there he remained until a few years ago, where people actually discovered his true place of death. Thank you very much, and I hope you found this very informative about the life of this great artist.
Okay.
Taxi, sí, no me digas, así, no.
I would have found